right, and this is episode 4 of Derp Talk. Woo-hoo. Just had to use that joke again. I used it before we started actually recording the YouTube version, which just started for those of you watching the late version. For the rest of you, you've been listening to us talk for about a minute now. About absolutely nothing. Okay, let me pull the game that we'll be enjoying on the live version today. Up, here we are. And there's a party on bot. Gonna join that party. All right. So today on Derp Talk, we're just gonna talk about fictional universes that are awesome and why we either would or would not want to live in them. Because let's face it, sometimes a fictional universe is awesome and you want to live in it. Other times it's awesome, but there's no way in hell you'd be caught living there or dead there. Because you don't want to be dead in those universes. Like the one I'm gonna start
Especially
with.
in zombies.
Yeah, 40K. I love 40K. I would not want to live or die in 40K. Because death is not an end to misery that is 40K. By a long shot, as it fucks.
No, you're still kind of fucked.
Either your skull's going to get used to make a servitor, a robot or something, or eventually your world's going to succumb to chaos or the Necrons or some bullshit, and somehow your corpse will just be used for the powers of evil. Well, more evil. Really, there's no powers of good in Warhammer. But at the same time, I love Warhammer. I love the lore. I love everything about it. I just don't want to live there, even if I was a Space Marine. Because even being dead as a Space Marine isn't really an escape, because you may just end up finding yourself in a giant sealed coffin for the rest of eternity. Just fighting with barely your memories left.
I mean, you get to kill a lot of stuff when you're in that sealed coffin.
Oh yeah, you're fucking badass, but you're a shell of your former self trapped forever in a coffin that knows nothing but fight for the Emperor. Not exactly a fulfilling existence.
I guess not.
Of course, then again, you don't really know any better. And let's face it, even before you died, you were a Space Marine, so you're fanatically devoted to the Emperor anyway.
You could go evil, and you could go evil. That's technically a better life.
Yeah, only if you go evil and you get buddies with Grandpa Nurgle. For those who don't know, Nurgle is the Chaos God that's usually associated with diseases and stuff, and he's like the most chill motherfucker in the Warhammer universe. He just wants to protect his and pamper his diseased children. The downside is you're covered in diseases.
But I don't want to be covered in diseases.
Shush, Grandpa Nurgle loves you.
Aww. I don't like him loving me.
Let's see. What's some other good universes? I'd actually like to live in the Mass Effect universe, the generation before the Reapers show up. Because then I get all the cool futuristic shit without any of the annoyance of having to worry about the Reapers coming and turning me into space zombies.
And your kids will have to deal with that, not you.
Actually, I forget. When did the games take place? Isn't it the same generation that humanity discovered aliens?
Sort of. The Turian Wars were Ashley's grandfather's generation who fought. So they were of military age during the First Contact War. And then the generation that grew up with the Council would be Anderson's generation. So your last few years would be the Reaper invasion, but frankly, regardless of whether or not you survive the Reaper invasion, let's face it, under most people's ending that they like to do, and that's just to destroy the Reaper, I don't want to be in the universe after the Reapers are destroyed because all the Mass Effect gates get fucked up. That's a lot of goddamn cleanup to do without interstellar travel. I do not want to live in a world where that's my existence, is picking up the pieces of some asshole who decided to blow everything up. Suddenly the destruction
play
ending,
nice and take your toys away.
Suddenly the destruction ending doesn't seem so great when someone explains it that way, does it, people?
Yeah, really. I still like the synthesis ending better.
Oh, I do like the synthesis ending. If I get the synthesis ending, I don't mind being alive when the Reapers invade, as long as I survive the invasion.
I'm a fan of the control.
Control's good, but
Control's only if you're a good shepherd.
Well, it's good for you regardless.
Well, yeah, but if you're a bad shepherd, you're essentially a elusive man too.
And let's be fair, that is what Renegade Shepherd essentially is. let's face it, pure Renegade Shepherd is not something I like. I love going Renegade every now and then, but pure Renegade Shepherd is a xenophobic asshole who is essentially the elusive man with a gun. I like how I somehow killed that minion before she finished throwing it. And that's why I don't like going full Renegade. In fact, I think I've only done one playthrough as full Renegade on Mass Effect 1 and immediately hated it. It's just like, there's nothing fun about playing full Renegade. Being Paragon with a bit of Renegade thrown in is way more enjoyable than being pure Renegade. And let's face it, being neutral is just boring as fuck, so no one's ever actually neutral. being neutral is I'm choosing to do absolutely nothing with my life decision.
Well, that's the good soldier route.
Yeah, well, technically so's Paragon in a way.
But because Paragon does break some rules.
It
But it does
does,
so for the greater good.
but you become a better commander because of it, which is what you are. You are an officer. An officer's allowed to bend the rules. You're not a grunt soldier who just sits there and just does whatever you're told.
Which is the neutral way of doing things
is to be the grunt soldier, do whatever you're told, which is retarded. I can spin 2. Fuck.
I don't know.
Universe are gonna be very confused by what all the random outbursts.
I think a universe I'd like to live in is probably the Pokemon universe, simply because I've been playing the fuck out of it ever since I got the new Pokemon Y.
That, when you stop and think about it, the Pokemon universe is really sweet. You basically start working when you're 10, but it's the kind of job where you don't even realize it's a job. It's just you traveling around having a grand adventure, and you make money doing this because apparently the Pokemon League just pays you when you beat the shit out of people.
Yep.
See, I would like to live in the Pokemon universe if it isn't pretty much established it has a predilection for huge terrorist organizations.
See,
like giant world-ending terrorist organizations that will kill people.
Not gonna lie, if I exist in the Pokemon universe, you're damn spanky I'm joining Team Rocket. That was always the one thing in the games I wished I could do, was join Team Rocket. I like Giovanni as a character. I like the whole concept of Team Rocket outside of Jesse and James, who are just complete incompetent assholes who don't know what they're doing. And I would love to have been a part of Team Rocket. I'm essentially the Pokemon Mafia at that point, and that just sounds cool to me.
You just be grunt number 2 that gets his ass kicked by a 10-year-old kid.
Do you really want to have 10 Zubats, Sovek?
Don't you get 10 Zubats anyway, though? I mean, let's face it. If you're going to have 10 Zubats anyway, you might as well get paid for it.
Since when does Team Rocket get paid?
Actually, it's established in the manga. They not only get paid, they have more than just the grunts. They actually have a corporate division.
They also those were the bad guys from 2.
Yeah, they also have a military division run by Lieutenant Surge, who are literally trained to be Pokemon commandos.
So not canon?
Yes, it is, actually.
Lieutenant Surge being part of Team Rocket was never canon.
It was in the manga.
But the manga is not canon.
It is in my mind, because the manga is completely better than the TV series in every feasible way.
I'm just talking the game, not the TV series.
Oh yeah, well, despite the predilection for huge terrorist groups, there's also the predilection for Pokemon wars. I don't want to be in a Pokemon war.
You don't want to be like Lieutenant Surge?
Okay, no, wait, that actually is canon shit. I forgot about that.
Because remember Lieutenant Surge running around with his Voltorb cannon and having Magnetons strapped to his shoulders to block bullets with electromagnetic pulses like he's fucking Magneto?
Surge and the most recent one, they're Pokemon Wars. They're not pretty.
Yeah,
but they're amazing.
And the Pokemon Wars are actually in the game. They're mentioned briefly.
Yes. It's also mentioned that one of them is literally Vietnam. Because in the original games, remember, Lieutenant Surge is specifically mentioned as fighting in the Vietnam War as an American.
Which is weird.
No, it's not.
Well,
because
it's an interesting universe, kind of, because
here's the thing.
All of the regions are pretty much mirrors of real-world places. Like Johto, Kanto, or Japan.
There's several of them are part of Japan. I think it's Unova, that's the greater Manhattan area.
I think
one of them is France. Remember. Yeah, one of them is France.
Yeah, X and Y are France, and it's kind of weird.
there's actually every region has been found to be almost geographically perfect match for regions on the actual physical real world that we live in today.
Which is kind of cool.
Which implies in the Pokemon universe, then the quote-unquote regions are just the Japanese names for different places in the world.
Yep. Which is kind of awesome.
Yeah. So, think about that. World War II fought with Pokemon.
Civil War Pokemon?
Civil War Pokemon would be hilarious. I would want one of those Pokemon just to be like a very persnickety southern Pokemon with a mutton stash. like a fucking like Hitmontop or not Hitmontop, I'm a champ who's just dressed in a Confederate outfit with the with like a taped on mutton beard.
I mean, seriously, wouldn't you like to live in a world where you don't have rats, but you have Rattatas?
No, because again, you notice they say don't go in the grass without Pokemon.
Yeah.
If you don't have a Pokemon, those things are going to kill you.
Again, I'm going to bring up the manga because no matter how much you say the manga is not canon, it does set a good tone for how the Pokemon world actually works in a realistic sense, as opposed to how it works in the anime sense. There is collateral damage in Pokemon fights. Red at one point did get hit by Muck, one of Muck's attacks, and not only did it start eating through his clothes like actual acid and threatened to burn his arm off, it poisoned him, and he actually had to go to the hospital and have the poison extracted before he died. Because he was having a Pokemon battle with a Muck, and he got caught by a stray bit of Muck gook. Yeah.
Still worth the risk.
It is. I think that's worth. That's one of those worlds where it's dangerous, but it's fun dangerous. It's not. Oh my god, my soul is eternally tormented by the beings of chaos like Warhammer is.
Because I mean, your doggy would be a Pokemon.
Yeah.
Your kitty.
Except for Growlithe or Meowth or Persian.
Or a fruit throw.
My cat's an asshole. I really don't want him having Pokemon powers. I mean, yeah, Charizard's dickishness is humorous in the anime. I don't want a real dickish Charizard in real life. That'd be horrid.
That's because you need to be a better trainer and not be an idiot like Ash is. I mean, let's face it, Ash is really, really dumb. That's why Charizard does that to him, because he really doesn't like being bossed around by an idiot kid. There's a lesson to you. Don't evolve your Pokemon if you can't handle the responsibility. Oh wait, in life there is no B button. Crap.
Everstone.
Oh yeah, Everstone.
Yeah.
Just keep an Everstone taped to your cat. Speaking of a world that I would not want to live in, the Fallout world. I really wouldn't want to live in there.
I like the Fallout world, but yeah, I kind of would not want to live there.
Everything will kill you.
Unless you're like poisoning. The one chosen one from every generation, you're pretty much fucked.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'd want to live in the Oblivion world or not. In the Elder Scrolls world.
No. Oh, hell no.
There are long periods of time in that world, though, where just everything's kind of chill, other than the occasional war here and there.
Well, yeah, except it's still medieval times. There's no indoor plumbing.
Medieval time. That depends on where you live. That actually depends on where you live. I think it's more or less established that Dwemer had plumbing, and if you're one of those few people who live in or near Dwemer-built settlements, you generally have indoor plumbing. Also, there's magic. You can just magic the poop away. I mean, I'm pretty sure there is a poop removal spell that just isn't put in the game for the reasons that poop is not a mechanic. Were poop a mechanic in Elder Scrolls, you know there'd be a poop removal spell.
Because the main thing, the difference between, I mean, you might say you don't want to live in Fallout, but you want to live in Elder Scrolls. In Elder Scrolls, it seems like there's a chance for the common folk to get somewhat powerful. Like you'll see bandits running around with like really special armor. In Fallout, you know, civilians are going to stay civilians and at the whims of the more powerful.
I mean,
there's no chance for
there's-
advancement for civilians.
There's really successful warlords who own raider tribes and then manage to scrounge them up into something more. Certainly, that's literally what birthed the Legion.
I mean, maybe you have a 1 in a million chance of finding power armor or enclave armor, and then you're set for life. But
Actually,
that's really
funny
low.
you say that. What would you say about being in that universe if you're part of the Brotherhood of Steel, and if it was either the Chicago or the DC Brotherhood, where the Brotherhood aren't just a bunch of technophobic dicks who want to keep technology?
I don't really agree with that Brotherhood. I still wouldn't want to live in the world.
I
wouldn't
don't
either.
I don't like the West Coast Brotherhood only because the West Coast Brotherhood is completely self-destructive.
What's the point?
Dude, in the Fallout universe, you can't even drink the water without needing
Not
Only
true.
DC. Only DC water.
Yeah, only DC water, and even then they cleaned that. Okay, it looks like this match is being broadcasted properly, so good.
What other universes are there that we would like to or would not like to live in?
I would like to live in Star Trek only because Star Trek is the ultimate lazy man's universe. If you're human and you're born in the Federation and you're born near the heart of the Federation, you want for nothing in life because there's no wealth you have to worry about. You're not in the frontier where you have to trade with species that still have a concept of wealth. And you just get to sit around and do whatever the fuck you want. You want to spend your entire life just going to school and becoming a massive academic? Go right the fuck ahead. There's no student debts to worry about.
Yay!
Something that's a personal irk of mine, being someone with massive student debts.
I could totally see myself being one of the Borg. That wouldn't be that bad. I mean, frankly, once you become the Borg, you don't really experience pain anymore, do you?
No. To be fair, there is an alternative to the Borg that's still Borg. Is basically the Borg resistance movement. There were a group of Borg who found a way to isolate what's left of their consciousnesses into hidden servers within the Borg collective, so that when they're hooked up for recharging, they can communicate with each other freely and create mental images of how they were before they were Borg. And while they're essentially dreaming, they're free of the collective, but still one with each other. So they still have all the cool perks of being a hive mind, without the downside of being a hive mind. And at least in the time period in which the MMO takes place, which has been established, the MMO is considered canon. Since like half of the writing crew, if not more, of Star Trek is involved in it, and they now have half the cast of Voyager on there as well now. That the cooperative actually now owns their own cubes and some of their own Borg spheres and shit. So there is the possibility of being Borg and just having a group mind that isn't dominating your personality. So, yes, you could actually be Borg fluxing, and you could still be an individual within the Borg.
But resistance is futile.
Resistance is dumb.
See, what other universes?
Star Wars, depending on which era of Star Wars.
Not the generation of the original trilogy, that's for damn sure.
No, actually...
I'd totally be up for I'd totally be up for the narration of the first trilogy just so I could join the Empire.
Yeah, if you're part of the Empire, and you're one of those people who survives the Battle of all the way through to the end of the Battle of Endor, you're actually in a pretty decent position because the Empire did retain some remote worlds after the Emperor's death, and retained a small pseudo empire that was just controlled through the might of the officers still in power. If you're also in the Galactic Civil War and you live in the core worlds and you are a loyal Imperial citizen, your life's pretty chill. You're in the core worlds, which means you're not being hit up for shit tons of taxes. That's what the Outer Rim's for. You're not being enslaved, because again, that's what the Outer Rim's for. And you're just having a chill time, chilling with the Emperor. There are good places in each era, but it depends on the era and which place you're living. Let's see, Clone Wars era. Where would I want to be in the Clone Wars era? Another instance where I don't think you want to be in the Outer Rim, because that's where the Separatists are hanging out, unless you like the Separatists. That's kind of the double-edged sword of that era.
That doesn't end well.
No, being a
No.
Jedi does not end well at the time of the Jedi. So if you want to be a Jedi, you want to do post Episode 6, or you want to do
The episode 1.
the Old Republic.
Yeah, frankly, the only way Jedi works out without you getting your shit kicked is the Jolie Bindo Jedi path, where you just say fuck this and wander around.
You just go hide on Kashyyyk. Although at the time of the Empire, that's a bad idea because they're busy enslaving all the Wookiees. But
because if not, you're a good Jedi, and therefore you have to go to war and follow the good Jedi. And if you don't, then you're classified as an evil Jedi, and they're coming after you.
Exactly. The Old Republic would be fun in its entirety because then you could be Jedi, Sith, or whatever the fuck. And there are different points in which you could live an entire generation as one or the other and not have to worry about being overthrown and immediately executed and having to go into hiding. Because I do believe the Sith at one point had like a full generation's control of pretty much everything.
Well, yeah, they had. According to the stupid canon of Tor, they had pretty much a whole empire that had been staying around for like hundreds of years. Yeah, just barely outside the reach of everyone's scanners, apparently.
Yeah, pretty much. So, I would love to be a Sith in the time leading up to the MMO would be a fun time to be a Sith because that's when the Sith were kind of at their prime in the Old Republic era. I mean, you could debate back and forth whether KOTOR 1, KOTOR 2, or the MMO is it, but in my opinion, it's the MMO, definitely. That was sort of the prime time for the Sith. If you're going to be Sith, do it at the time of the MMO. Well, yeah.
It's going into a tangent here, but no, technically, not during the MMO, because during the MMO is when the war essentially between the Sith and the Republic starts. If you want to live good, live before the MMO when the Sith were just barely acknowledged other than the outliers who were inside Republic space.
Live in that period between KOTOR 2 and the MMO. That's the period I was kind of referring to, but yeah, I'll be a little more specific. That specifically, if you want to be Sith, that's where you live. Because that's where you can be a chill Sith dude doing Sith things, and the universe doesn't really give a fuck that you're Sith.
Force choking whoever you want.
Well, to be fair, you're doing that in the MMO anyway. There's just the war going on in the background.
I don't think I'd want to live in the Sonic universe. I mean, there's way too many spike traps around, and if I don't stop myself quick enough, I just get fucking gutted.
There's a distinct overabundance of Eggman and his shenanigans.
There's a distinct abundance of bullshit in that universe.
Yeah, there's a lot of gimmickness in those universes. Like, I might get transported into a weird Arabian book, or might show up somehow in Middle Ages fighting knights. And all I want to do is be a hedgehog who runs fast.
Yeah. But merits of that can be debated.
D&D universe. Do you want to live... Well, hold up.
Which one?
Would you want to live in Greyhawk? First off, let's start with Greyhawk.
From what little I know of Greyhawk, not necessarily. Greyhawk seems like the boring version of the D&D universe.
Honestly, because if you're a commoner, your life sucks, and you are in the Middle Ages, and there's disease and all that fun stuff. It's just like living in our past, except some people have magic, and
in fact, I'm pretty sure Greyhawk even establishes that a commoner only makes something in the neighborhood of like a few silver a fucking year.
Yep.
But every commoner can essentially become a hero. I mean, you can become a warrior
if you know how to hold a sword and not get killed by the first batch of goblins you meet, then yeah, but how many commoners legitimately know that? I mean, let's be honest here.
Would you want to live in the Dark Sun worlds where the world's just ending?
No. Fuck no. Fuck no.
I don't even know Dark Sun. I know just enough, and I know just that it's fucked up.
Unless you somehow have the ability to be the doctor in that universe, so you can regenerate lives, you're fucked.
No, I would say unless you could be a vampire, or a lich, you're fucked in Dark Sun.
How about Eberron? Eberron actually... Ebron seems like
Ebron's
it's nice
okay.
for...
Everyone's alright.
Kind of.
If you're living in
Little
one of the
bit better.
magic cities, Ebron seems nice for the civilians.
Yeah.
Not exactly. They're treated as second-class citizens, though.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, it's better than normal D&D citizens.
True.
I'd rather not live in D&D world.
And I need to remember to turn my text-to-speech off in a second. I was not expecting anyone to join this channel, which I seem to do every week. Anyway, how about the Magic the Gathering universes?
No.
Just
No.
pick
No.
any one plane.
Fuck blue.
No.
Fuck. I don't want blue people messing with my heads.
I'm going to be honest, if I could be a Kabbalist, I would live in Dominaria in the time of the Cabal.
I have to worry about blue people just messing with my head to get their shits and giggles, and then I have to worry about black.
Gotta worry about planeswalkers.
Hang on. To be fair, as someone who has extensively read Magic the Gathering books, you don't have to worry about the blue people very often. There's maybe been 5 people in the entire history of the universe of Magic the Gathering who can do that on any sort of an effective scale.
Yeah, but every single one of them seems to be dicks.
Yes, every single one of them seems to be dicks, except that most of them are good dicks. It's like if you gave the Doctor that ability. He's going to be a dick about it because he's the fucking Doctor, but at the same time, you'd rather him have it than somebody else because he's going to use it for the greater good. In fact, there's a lot of settings where there's just periods of centuries to millennia where the most powerful person that will come up is sub-planeswalker. The Legend cycle is one that comes to mind. Not Legends, whichever one fucking the Tiger Dude's part of. The Tiger Dude cycle is great. It's just a powerful mage versus another powerful mage and his allies. And the armies of just normal people who get caught up in the middle. That story is not that bad for being fucked over by magic, because even then the villain's magic is pretty much limited to he can disguise himself and wander around your camp and steal information pretending to be a soldier just sitting at the campfire like, hey guys, so what's the plan tomorrow? That's literally the extent of the evil villain's magic. In fact, the hero has more magic than him. The hero at one point calls a massive sandstorm with a ritual that takes him 2 days to prepare.
Okay, and then realize that pretty much all the cards except for white want you dead because you've done something to slightly anger them.
Hang on though. Again, defending it from the lore standpoint. In the lore standpoint, white's not like that. I can think of one actually white character who is like that in the slightest, and that was the
No, I said every card type except white wants you dead.
No, not necessarily.
Green gets angry at you because you've done something wrong with nature. Black's just doing it because it's black. Red's fire, and red just doesn't give a damn.
I am
blue.
Oh great, now my phone's going off. Fuck.
Blue is Elder Gods, and I think that's it actually.
Well, to be fair, that's only really in the most latest stuff, where they've had to escalate everything. In the grand scheme of things, the magic itself is completely neutral and indifferent. What you end up running in more often in lore is that the magic is only like that on the cards because a particular character did something like that with the magic. Therefore, a card had to be made of it because it was cool. That's kind of what it comes down to.
I read many of the Magic the Gathering books. I just wouldn't want to live there.
I wouldn't select time periods of Magic the Gathering. I would not want to live there during the Ice Age. I would not want to live there during the Phyrexian invasion, or anything even remotely related to the Phyrexian invasion. Or would I want to live on Mirrodin? Because let's face it, Mirrodin is just Phyrexia 2.0 in hiding. Kamigawa was alright until the gods started getting angry. And that's just because one spirit decided to be a dick and fuck off the other spirits by stealing a part of the World Serpent.
How about the Lord of the Rings universe?
You know what? I'd be kind of chill with Lord of the Rings.
I mean, if you're a hobbit, your life is fucking set.
Yeah, if you're a hobbit, your life's set.
If you're human, you're kind of fucked.
No, not necessarily. If you live in Bree, or in the Northlands in general, you're pretty chill. If you live somewhere off outside of the established universe, it's also okay because Sauron's your buddy. You forget there's an entire section of the world that is completely unseen in the books, not even on the maps that Tolkien made, but they're referenced, and they're just basically the places that the quote unquote European style, and I don't even know why I said it that way, but yeah, the European style civilizations of the free peoples don't interact with. Like the Asian part of the world, the Africa part of the world. All of those are just really chill places that just owe allegiance to Sauron because Sauron just controls those areas and he just lets them hang out and do whatever the fuck they want as long as they send him gold and soldiers every now and then.
And then Sauron gets beat, and
It gets beat and then they go off living only now they're independent. See, that's one of the things they don't really bring up. No one goes after those people after the fall of Sauron. They're actually perfectly okay. In fact, they're better when he dies than they were before he died, and they were pretty chill before he died. There's like massive sections of the world completely unaffected by everything going on. Because Tolkien just kind of forgot to mention that kind of stuff, and it made a glaring loophole. What about this section of the world? They're pretty chill, I guess. So the world wasn't in danger, just like this small corner of it that was essentially England. Yeah. Yeah. I love Lord of the Rings. That's one of my Earth things about Lord of the Rings is when you get down into it, it's actually very narrow on what part of the world is actually in danger.
But you forget, London is the.
Well, fair enough.
If Doctor Who's anything to go by, there's nothing important going on in any other part of the world except for the UK.
Essentially, you become if you stay as a hobbit and avoid that whole worm tongue enslaving everyone thing, it's good. I mean, if you're in the whole worm tongue enslaving thing, it's kind of crap, but granted, the hobbits had a given lifespan way too idyllic. How about the Dune universe, Sovek? Would you drink the spice?
I don't want the spice to flow.
Back to Nunu. Yeah, I'd let the spice flow. I wouldn't be a Harkonnen though. I mean, that's just the shitty existence being a Harkonnen.
Harkonnens had a pretty good life until they got beaten.
Specifically until that one Baron, to be honest.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they were
Baron
shitty,
Vladimir
but no one...
Harkonnen was kind of a dick.
I mean, they were all shitty, but they didn't realize it, so I mean, your life wouldn't really have any problems.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, life as a Fremen would be hard, but it'd be fulfilling. I mean, as a Fremen, that's just, to you, that's paradise living like that. Not in the literal sense, but you know what I mean. I mean that's your life right there. I get the sand. I'm riding a worm. We got our whole hydroponics thing going. Things are pretty chill. Oh hey, Harkonnens want to murder him? Sure. Why the fuck not? We're Fremen. We're badass like that.
Except for the fact that if for 1 minute you forget to walk without rhythm, you're fucked. You're fucked, and everyone you ever knew was fucked.
But that's exactly why they drilled that into you from birth. You're a really shitty Fremen if you can't just walk. If you can't do that without thinking. You.
Yes, by George, if you include his son's books, the Harkonnens were cool. But if you include his son's books, you're not talking about Dune anymore, are you?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I guess the Harkonnens also had books, which was kind of cool.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. Would you want to be living in the Mushroom Kingdom?
I don't know. It's pretty chill.
The toads don't really seem to have that much bad going on.
I mean,
except that a lot of them were turned to bricks, which Mario breaks in the 12 games.
I mean, are you a brick with conscience though? Is it established if you're thinking while you're a brick?
Thinking while you're a brick.
Am I just sitting there thinking?
That is a sentence I never thought I'd ever hear uttered.
Makes you think. Do you feel pain when you're killed, when you're turned into a brick?
I mean, Bowser really doesn't hurt anyone other than Mario, seems like. He leaves everyone he just captures, and Mario deals with that.
I just feel sorry for all the toads I've killed over the years and breaking bricks.
In fact, I can't think of a single person Bowser's killed other than Mario. Those are only used as lethal force against Mario and Luigi, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, granted, you turn the toads into bricks, but could you really call that killing them?
No, it's the painless
No,
death.
because you can undo the spell. Mario, who's the murderer, murdered all of Koopa's Troopas.
I suppose Japan would say it's better to have died than suffer the dishonor of having been a brick. I don't know.
I don't know, maybe. I don't know if I'd want to live there.
How about the universe of Digimon? Would you want to
I would
live
love
in
to live in the
Digimon?
Digimon universe.
Digimon's essentially just the real world, except for the internet's kind of weird.
If you're aware of Digimon and you have a decent Digimon partner and you don't get shafted and get something really stupid, Digimon's a cool place to be.
Yeah, don't as long as you don't have Leomon, you're set. Because if you have Leomon, you can expect to go insane from losing your Leomon.
Well, that you could just expect to lose your Leomon, because there is no incarnation of Leomon that has ever had a good end.
God damn it, why is that?
Leomon is the Aslan of fucking Digimon.
Apparently.
In fact, I think that's exactly what they did, is they basically want Leomon to literally be Aslan. They completely bypassed the easy explanation of he's a Jesus allegory and jumped straight for he's an allegory for Jesus. Because Japan.
Sounds about right. Still, I don't know.
Which makes perfect
Digimon
sense
are kind of messed up when they run amok, though. That's a lot of collateral damage. That collateral damage is very well documented in canon. They can fuck it up constantly.
See, I still want to know what happens if you induce lag to Digimon.
They have done that, actually.
What happened? I don't remember that.
That's how they defeated Diaboromon. Remember, they got all the kids in the world to get on their laptops and introduce massive net lag. They essentially DDoSed the entire internet. They made everyone spam messages at the fucking Digimon so they could DDoS Diaboromon.
Ooh, wait! I just thought of something. Just think what happens when a Digimon gets pissed on the internet. Massive DDoSing the entire internet.
Actually, it's established that things like that is what create Digimon. Like Digimon. Right. Digimon's the living incarnation of Black Hat hackers.
Although I do have to say, what would the Digimon think to finding the fan art of themselves on the internet?
I'm pretty sure there's been fan fiction of them finding their own fan fiction. So you need only check the usual sources.
What about the Harry Potter universe?
Actually, that's actually awesome.
If Voldemort's not around, it's a pretty awesome universe to be in. If you're actually a wizard.
Yeah, if you're doing post the Harry Potter books, that's the universe I love to live in. That's amazing.
And even if you're in the Voldemort universe, just use a gun. Literally, Rowling, I believe, has commented that a gun would have easily dealt with Voldemort if the wizards had thought to involve the Muggles.
Yep. If the wizards were stupid and just involved the Muggles,
to be fair,
would never have been a problem.
To be fair, I one up this. Just use a harpoon missile. You could literally have just gone to the Prime Minister and fuck you, Ziggs.
You cannot counterspell bullet.
Yeah, no, think about it. If you know exactly where Voldemort is, if you have established, okay, he's hiding out at this place, we can't get him because his magic's too strong. Go to the Prime Minister. We've established the Prime Minister knows about the wizard world. That's part of being the Prime Minister, apparently. It's like being part of UNIT. You get to know about the Doctor. You just go there and can we borrow one of your warships hanging around the channel? Why? There's this house you need to blow up right the fuck now. Really? What's the coordinates? Here you go. Okay. Tell that ship to fire that missile immediately. Because it's a missile. Voldemort can't sense a missile coming. It's not magic. It's not even alive. You won't know that shit's there until you hear the whistling before the boom.
And yes,
granted, that would not have killed him anyway because of the Horcruxes, but...
Yeah, well, hold on. You can
Yeah.
bring up Horcruxes, but remember, there was like 20 years that Voldemort spent reforming. So just shoot him every time he comes back up. You don't have to deal with Horcruxes.
Just shoot him until he runs out of lives.
I mean, there's that whole bit where he has to find a person and put his head on the back of their head, and then he turns into a little baby. And then he gets brought back after the sacrifice of a bunch of people.
Yeah.
So yeah, just keep shooting him. Frankly,
there
And
needs to be
Harry,
a sniper team on top of Hogwarts at all times now.
the funny thing is that Harry Potter and Hermione both grew up with Muggles. They know the Muggle world. None of them thought about it getting a gun.
Granted, each of them was pretty much told that was a stupid idea, and they just blindly went along with that logic.
How is it a stupid idea? I don't think that's
because
ever been
everyone's like,
mentioned ever.
Muggles can't help against magic. Magic can only be defeated by magic. They kept getting Uncle rhetoric. Magic must defeat magic.
No, gun defeat magic.
frankly,
Always the
living
case.
living in the Harry Potter universe would essentially be just living in our universe with a chance of being a wizard.
Yeah,
Which is
Cool
kind of awesome.
just awesome.
Because it is established that it's our universe just years earlier.
Yeah,
And not
still
many years
awesome.
earlier, to be honest.
Well, the time the books came about is when the
Yeah.
books actually end.
Yeah, no. That's actually why I liked reading them growing up, because the book's subject matter matured with the reader.
It's kind of awesome, actually. And the universe was written nicely. I mean, the lore is well presented.
Yeah, it's a lot like Lord of the Rings' lore, except a little less shoved in one spot. In that there's enough of it that you feel like you understand how the world works and you know what everything is, but there's just enough gray area that you feel like you want to know more. But you're satisfied with what you know in the sense that you don't feel like things aren't explained well. That's how you do a universe like that well.
Think of any other universes? I'm trying to think of some.
Skies of Arcadia universe. Would you be in the Skies of Arcadia universe?
No.
Mm,
No.
I get airsick. No.
Fucking Valoa pretty much controlled that universe, and no.
Well, what if you were Valuan and you were in the High City?
Even then, you're gonna get destroyed when the Reigns of Destruction get used again.
What if you just got to be best buddies with Galatian?
Even then, Galatian gets betrayed and the Reigns of Destruction happen. Sovek, you know this.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why you asked that.
I know. I wanted to see what Flux's
You
reaction.
just recently played the game.
Regardless of what happens in the Skies of Arcadia universe, Apocalypse starts.
To be fair, you could be in somewhere in that middle area where you'll be dead before the events of the game, but you were still alive at the time where the world kind of exists the way it is. That is not necessarily bad, because if you get to the point where you're pre-Galatian and you die pre-Galatian, I think things would be a lot different. You'd still be in the universe of Skies of Arcadia, but the only thing really that we know for sure would be there is just the way the world works. There's air pirates, there's good air pirates and bad air pirates, and there's airships everywhere, and it's a sailor's life for you.
All right, I got one that's really probably should have been mentioned earlier.
Okay.
World of Final Fantasy VII.
No, that should not have been mentioned earlier or ever. My answer is no.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
I like Final Fantasy VII. I will admit this. I am a fan of Final Fantasy VII. I have played the side games, and it's because I played the side games. I know for a fact it doesn't matter what time period I'm in. That world is a shitty world.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, if you're pre-Hojo, there's no monsters running around. On the other end of the spectrum, before Sojo and Shinra Corporation, that was a shitty world. That was just completely ass backwards.
Pretty much.
And the people who make it a cool place to live are the reason there's monsters running around. Why there's just these living bombs floating around in children's playgrounds. It's why the entire planet is dying. And after, things are still fucked up, because apparently Sephiroth just doesn't want to stay dead.
Nope.
So yeah, there's no good time to live in Final Fantasy VII. I like Final Fantasy VII, but there's just no good time to live there.
It's really not.
You could live with the ninjas. They seem pretty chill. From the few hours that I played the game.
Except that they have wars all the time, and bear in mind, Flux, this game can only last about 10 minutes before.
Oh, speaking of Ninja Wars, Sovek, can you imagine the universe I'm thinking of?
Naruto?
Yes. Actually, I would live in the Naruto universe. I would.
That's actually kind of cool.
I would actually not care what part of the Naruto universe I lived in. Because let's face it, as bullshit as the Ninja War is, a lot of the bullshit really only happened in Konoha. And only happened to a handful of ninjas there until the war actually broke out and it involved everybody. Up till that point, I imagine being any other person in that village was pretty awesome.
I don't know. I think being part of that universe would actually be kind of interesting. I mean, their tech's pretty much the same tech as ours, except they're ninjas, so they don't need some of it. But they have TVs.
They have computers.
They have computers.
In fact, they have giant HD TVs that hide inside ancient ninja statues,
which is kind of amazing.
What about the Dragon Ball universe?
No.
No. Hang on.
How many times did the moon blow up?
That is a good question.
Every time that fucking moon blows up, tidal waves.
Wait. How did they even blow up the moon the second time? Because they never brought back the moon.
I think they did.
No. When the wolf guy needed the moon back, they just used the back of Krillin's head, remember? Because apparently the back of Krillin's head reflecting the sunlight is just the moon. I remember that.
That's how that works, isn't it?
Well, hold on. I've gone to Dragon Ball Z Wikipedia. There's a whole page on the moon. Give me a second.
I bet there is.
Because of how much it's been destroyed.
It's been destroyed 2 times and revived once. How was it revived?
The Dragon Balls. They wish for the moon to come back.
During the 23rd martial arts tournament, Goku mentioned that Kami removed his tail during training so that the moon could be fixed. Apparently, Kami just fixed the moon again. And then...
God damn it.
So once again,
it was
Mr.
revived
Popo.
Twice. And then after Piccolo destroyed it, it came back.
To be fair, Mr. Popo probably likes the moon. He just kept bringing it back.
It's not a universe I want to live in.
Mr. Popo's just like, oh no, the moon's been destroyed. I'll have to go get it. Now here's the thing.
Every time there's a fight from someone trying to destroy the Earth, which is like all the fucking time.
Here's the thing, you come back.
Patches of Earth keep coming back, or keep getting destroyed.
But you come back to life.
And you don't remember it after, because they always wish to get rid of your memories. For whatever reason, no one's allowed to remember this shit. Although, I distinctly remember them not doing that with Vegeta, which begs the question, how does no one recognize Vegeta?
That's a good question.
How does no one recognize Vegeta when he comes back to Earth? Because I distinctly remember the only people whose memories they wiped were everyone who was killed by Boo. So that Boo had a chance at a normal life.
Lightbeard does have a point. Vegeta kind of killed anyone who saw him.
That is true. No. The news coverage.
Yeah, that's right. Forgot about that.
There was the massive news coverage of the Saiyans. There were several times he was distinctly seen on TV on worldwide television news.
Still, that's yet another reason why I wouldn't want to live there. You're in constant fear of alien invaders trying to take over Earth because some asshole is living on your planet.
I'm going to get my qualification. Since we've done this for every other one, that's if you're the average person. If you're a human with Z Fighter equivalent training, or even if you're just Hercule level, I imagine it's a pretty chill place to live.
Did you see how many times Krillin got his ass beat?
This is why I said Hercule levels. Because believe it or not, I do believe that Hercule is actually technically stronger than Krillin was in Dragon Ball.
Why is Krillin even there? He's such a loser.
Because supposedly he has the super attack that if he could ever hit with it would work.
Well,
it never hits.
And then Frieza used it and it works. Krillin's there to die, so Super Saiyan Goku comes around. That's it.
Krillin's there to die for our entertainment.
We'd just be
Okay.
there to die for Goku to get pissed off. Let's face it.
Continuing with manga universes, since I know you both read it, the Bleach universe.
No.
You mean you don't want to be in a universe where randomly angry ghosts can just kill you?
Yeah, I'd rather not.
No, unless you can just make me a Soul Reaper immediately and bypass the bullshit having to get through life part first.
But if you die, then you have a chance of becoming a Soul Reaper.
Chance.
So what you're saying is I should immediately pop a cap in my ass.
Well, no, you have to train your body to peak perfection, then to kill yourself.
See, that's the kind of bullshit I'm talking about. I have to live a life before an entire lifetime.
You can be lucky and be born into the Soul Society.
You know what? Just be born a Quincy.
Yeah,
let's skip the middleman altogether and just be a Quincy.
Well, no,
because apparently it works
then they
that way
genocide
that you
you.
can actually
No,
be born into the Soul Society at times.
That's true. They'll just murder you if you're a Quincy.
Wait, how does it even work? How does being born into the Soul Society even work?
Don't look into the science of the Soul Society, Red Fox. Somehow they can die when they're already dead. They can bleed when they're already dead.
No. I understand that part. You can die when you can die as a member of the Soul Society, and then your soul gets transferred into the world of the living again. It's a duality feature. That I understand. How the hell are you born into the Soul Society when the members of the Soul Society come forth from people who are dead?
Because every time you die, you become a different person in the Soul Society. You don't just keep coming back as the same guy in Soul Society.
Well, no, they've established that you're the same. When you die in the real world, your form is what the form you take in the Soul Society.
And then you get reborn in the real world, and you're someone different, and then you die.
Yeah. But,
and now you're a different person altogether again, because you're still you. You're just
still,
you
how
dead.
Are you born in the Soul Society? It's just weird.
And
technically, I think they did establish you just kind of appear how you were at death. Just kind of pop into existence.
But there have been births in the Soul Society a couple times, if I remember right.
Yes, which I think makes sense. How else do you explain the world population getting bigger? If the size of the world's population is dependent on the size of the Soul Society's population, then Soul Society has to be the ones actually creating new people.
That's a very good point.
The actual population growth has to take place in the Soul Society first before it can happen on Earth.
That's a very good point. I didn't think of that. That makes sense now. We've made sense of something stupid.
I've spent a long time questioning that, because I always wondered how the Earth's population could continue to get bigger over the years if it was directly tied to the size of Soul Society. And I just simply came to the conclusion people have to be just born in Soul Society.
Makes sense. Still, I wouldn't want to live there, though.
No.
Getting killed by random hollows that you can't even see. Unless you have spirit pressure, and then you're even more of a target for those guys. Well, thanks. Endless fighting. No downtime.
And because I noticed it's almost 3, so we've been going an hour, would you guys take the pirate's life?
Hell no.
I don't know enough about One Piece to honestly say whether or not I want to live in the One Piece world.
I would totally take the fucking pirate's life. You find a fruit and you're set for life with a random power.
Except you can't swim. And they're pirates. Yeah.
It doesn't seem to matter very much in the manga that you can't swim, so I mean, come on.
Let's be honest, he also has stretchy arms. You can just stretch his arms up out of the water and grab onto something.
No.
You'd have to run into a situation where there is nothing he can grab while sinking.
Literally touching the water. Getting up to waist deep in water immediately drains him of all energy.
Yep.
He can't stretch once he's in the water.
Yeah,
his body can be stretched, but he can't stretch.
Then clearly at all times he must have an arm tied to his own ship.
No, at all times you must wear water wings. You need to be the pirate with the little inflatable things on your arms. Even if you fall out, you'll be floating there for a while.
You have to just wear a giant bubble air suit that's just full of air so you float.
There actually are those.
I know there are.
I don't know. I don't think I'd want to live in a world where the world government is trying to take over the world and suppress free thought.
I am wondering about that. If they're already the world government, why they tried to take over the world?
They're not.
Because there's pirates. They want to stamp them out.
Yeah, they just
wanna
want to
stamp
destroy
out
all
free
pirates. The point of
Okay.
getting the weapons is
Then
to destroy pirates.
then their goal is to destroy all the pirates, not take over the world. They've technically done the taking over part. It's just
Yeah.
the crowd control at this point.
And there is a revolution that has taken over, I think, 10% of the world. They've freed themselves.
Fair enough.
Yeah, because the world government's kind of
A dick.
assholes.
Kind of shit.
I figured that much out already.
There are literally people who are above all laws, and they're allowed to own slaves and kill anyone they want just because they're cool.
Yep.
Any last minute universes?
Last minute universes.
Men in Black universe?
No.
Batman universe.
Batman universe,
Actually,
yeah.
the DC or the Marvel universe, yes, because the chances of you actually developing superpowers and being able to do something with your life are so freakishly large that you might as well just assume right away you're going to that universe with a random superpower.
But hold up, Sovek. Because Beak is established in the Marvel universe. So you could end up with a very shitty power like being born with just air light bones and just being broken.
True.
So you could be like part of the
But-
X-Men. Everyone has special powers, and you just have a third ear on your head.
You're one of the Morlocks who just looks ugly. You have absolutely no benefit whatsoever from your mutant power. You're just deformed. Your X gene kicked in. What happened? I got ugly. Oh. Oh. Yeah. That begs the question: Why do people still think of the mutants that just look ugly as dangerous if they don't actually have powers?
Because they're ugly.
Yeah.
They're not
Fair.
pretty.
Fair enough, but I always found that as a kind of a bullshit thing. I mean,
Well,
I don't go around saying kill all the ugly people. I could. but
there
I
are
don't.
people who do.
No,
And there
there are.
are people. Well, you have to remember, X-Men is an allegory for
I know it is.
for racism.
Yeah, and X-Men lives in a weird state of the Marvel universe where
Oh, God,
everyone
it does.
everyone accepts superheroes, but the moment someone with powers comes out, they immediately say they should be put to death.
Oh, that's
So
why,
it's really
that's why I
odd.
loved the Civil War, because at the time the Marvel Civil War broke out, it was established the Mutant Registration Act was not only in full effect, but readily accepted by almost every mutant. Because at the time it was voluntary. And despite the despite the Superhuman Registration Act, the Mutant Registration Act remained voluntary. That was always one of the things about the Marvel Civil War that made me stop and go, "Hey, you kind of fucked up a piece here." Granted, there's other things they fucked up with, but that's just the one that I find the most fun to poke at.
Plus, at least with the Marvel universe, you could just stay where you are now. Take place in a
Oh yeah,
parallel
What about
dimension.
the DC universe, though?
DC universe kind of the same, only better. Because in the DC universe, it's more like a near future setting.
I don't want Lex Luthor to be
Yeah,
president.
but DC seems like there's a much
You
lower
don't?
chance of becoming
Think about it.
superpowered.
Think about it. If Lex Luthor's president and you work for Lex Luthor, you are set.
Until someone
really.
attacks Luthor and they kill you as a bystander.
Yeah, which happens.
It does happen, but see, I've noticed there's a key to surviving within Lex Luthor's organization and being awesome. The key is to not be the top guy, but the guy like two to five pegs under him, who's still important. You're still a specialist. You're still valuable to Luthor to the point where he will expend great resources to get you back if something happens to you.
Except most people are just going to be peons.
Actually, wait, hold up. No, it's better to be the top guy because it's cool to kill the peons, but no, I don't want. It's mean to kill the top guy, even though I've killed hundreds of his underlings. I can't kill the bad guy.
No, because with Luthor, it's the opposite. Luthor is that villain who blames the top guy and lets everyone under him go because they were just following the top guy's order and it was his incompetence that caused them to be incompetent.
Yeah,
that's Luthor's mindset.
For Luthor, but when the good guy comes in, he's gonna kill all the peons, but not hurt the top guy because the top guy is the only one that matters, and I haven't killed anyone.
The good guys don't kill.
That's why you be just top
Most
enough
of them, anyway.
that you're still you're the top guy's top guy or one of his top guys, so that you're still valuable and explaining your part of the of what's going on to the hero and the hero busts in. So you're valuable enough that the hero's going to let you go. You're also low enough that the hero's just going to be like, okay, you're just following orders. You're just a corporate lackey. And Luther's going to look at you in a similar light. Luther's going to be like, well, you're not the top guy, so I'm not going to blame you when the shit fucks up. That's the top guy's fault. But you are valuable because you know specialized information, which means I have to make sure that you never get kidnapped. You're in that happy middle where both sides want you. And that's the key to surviving in DC if you don't have superpowers. Work for LexCorp and aim for middle management. Or become a specialist within a division, but not the head guy within the division.
I'd totally be up for working on trying to get pictures of the Spider-Man, though.
Oh, yeah. Just being one of those guys who takes random pictures of Spider-Man for Jameson and just gives it to him.
Or expose Peter's pure corruption of the way journalism should work.
Oh, yeah.
Where he just fucking takes pictures of himself and doesn't think that's odd, and he's just essentially taking Jameson for a ride to get his money.
Well, actually, it's established. I think it is established that Peter is completely where he's doing this, but because he thinks of Jameson as a dick sometimes, he gives no shits.
Granted, Jameson did develop a team of 6 robots that kind of killed Spider-Man, I think.
Oh, yeah. He was, at least in the cartoon, he was behind the creation of the Scorpion.
Which was kind of stupid.
I think he had something to do with the original Spider Slayer, which then got bought up by the Kingpin when it got wrecked and used to create the even better Spider Slayers. So, again, blame Jameson. I am pretty sure his incompetence is what allowed Mysterio to go on his initial crime spree as long as he did, because Mysterio kept disguising himself as Spider-Man, and that just made Spider-Man want it because Jameson ate that up like fucking candy. So Spider-Man couldn't go after Mysterio for a while because Jameson just started this massive manhunt. I also think there was a time when Jameson literally, in the newspaper comics, he literally made himself an Iron Man suit. And
yes, he did.
And went to fight Spider-Man.
Because why the fuck
And
not?
the best part is to distinguish him from the actual Iron Man, you could see his mustache through the thing as a weird silhouette. And if you know about the newspaper one, he has a Hitler stash in the newspaper because they still use the 60s Spider-Man artwork. So it's Iron Man with the toothbrush mustache, essentially, when Jameson puts the suit on.
It's insanity.
Yeah, Flux found it. God, that's a big link, Flux. I have to look at this. Yeah. Here comes Iron Jonah. Oh. Yeah, no, I would love to be Marvel or DC if I had powers and they were useful powers. Because I'd be one of those guys who'd find a way to make money off of it without actually being a villain. Unless I absolutely had to. And even then, if I'm a villain, I'd try and be one of those villains who doesn't get locked up in the super, super, super max fucking shield prisons. I'd be that dude who just like, all right, you're essentially the Shocker. You're not really a big fish. You're just a massive mob grunt who just happens to have superpowers. So we're gonna take a few extra precautions, but you're still going to regular prison. You just get a special cell.
Okay. Any other universes?
I think that about covers it for
I
today.
think that about covers it. I really can't think of any others that stick out as something I would or wouldn't want to live in. Yeah, just quickly glancing around at my various books and DVDs, and nothing comes to mind. So I think that's it for this week. Really good episode, I think. This was actually a really fun discussion, especially since I don't think we've ever really had this discussion before, which that always helps. Whenever we have an episode where it's something we haven't talked about before, like 500 times over the years, it seems to flow better. And I felt that kind of showed this week. So I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. This will be up on YouTube, hopefully by the end of the week, if I remember to actually upload it when it gets back to me. I may forget. Certainly, look forward to that. If you only just tuned in late in the show, look forward for a YouTube upload later. This has been myself, Sovek, Flux, and Red Fox for Derp Talk. If you want to check out more of Red Fox, go to twitch.tv/redfox_nightfox when he streams at night around midnight Eastern time. Fluxin, whenever the fuck he decides to stream, is when he streams at twitch.tv/Fluxin. And keep coming back here to twitch.tv/SovekOnivris if you want to see more of me when I have the time to stream. Not as much as I used to, unfortunately, but I'm trying to squeeze a little bit more stream time in here and there as the weeks go on. It's been a very, very busy last couple months. A lot of stuff going on in my personal life that just kind of keeps me away from the computer. So I hope you all enjoy. For those of you live, you can see the link to patreon.com/SovekOnivris if you want to donate and help keep the podcast going. Certainly, once we start getting the higher tiers of the donation brackets, we'll be able to start doing more stuff to improve the quality of the stream and the podcast in general, software, hardware, and all that. And if you're watching on YouTube, you just heard that link, so go right on over and support me if you can. If not, hey, don't worry about it. I hope you enjoy the show anyway. All right, and from us, have a good afternoon, and yeah, hope you enjoyed.